Hey, Joe Coffey here for PremierGuitar.com. We're at Summer NAMM 2009 in Nashville. And I want to introduce you to Mike Delaney, who is the man behind Delaney Guitars. Mike, how you doing?
Doing really good. Thanks for coming by the booth. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. You know, we're walking by, we see gorgeous flame maple, we see a lot of cool stuff. It's like, well, let's check it out, see what this guy's up to. So, tell us about Delaney Guitars.
Well, Delaney Guitars started out as a custom builder. We just custom build for artists. We've now moved into the production world, and we're looking for the boutique dealers, and we want to hang out with the Grosh and Sirs and Andersons of the world, and we're all about the wood. We're basically old school guitar building with state-of-the-art electronics. That's what we're trying to do. Everything by hand. We don't do anything with no computers, no CNC machines. It's just me and a router going to town in my shop. We can pump out about 15 guitars a month, and that's all we want to do. And it's a type of thing where I can't let go of the building process. I've got to be involved in every step of it. I'm sure it's an OCD thing on my part, but that's the way it is. And so we're going to stay small and build guitars true to what we believe in. We're building them like they used to build them.
You mentioned you're a wood guy, and I'm looking around. I'm not seeing a lot of high gloss, fancy plastic looking reflection, see yourself kind of finishes here. I see a lot of matte and satin. You know, what's your approach to finishing?
What we're doing is, again, it's a very old school approach. Most of our guitars are nitrocellulose lacquer, and we do very thin finishes.
That's not easy to do.
It's not. It's a matter of putting a lot of finish on and taking most of it back off. And we do it in layers so that the wood is well protected. But the key is that you want the wood to talk. In the old days, the vintage guitars that are so sought after by these guys are guitars where the wood is still speaking. And nowadays, a lot of the builders are using the poly finishes, and they're very thick and they're shiny and they're absolutely gorgeous. But you know, you might as well build it out of cardboard. The wood doesn't have a chance to do what it's meant to do. So we do nitrocellulose lacquer finishes. We actually have a couple of guitars we do with just tung oil finishes, just to protect the wood from the elements, but to allow it to breathe and talk and do what it needs to do. And it's working for us. It's what I believe in. It's what I've always looked for in a guitar, and it's what I stopped. I wasn't able to find it anymore in my guitars when I was looking for guitars for myself to play.
Well, I know you're speaking the language of what a lot of our readers are really into. You know, early historic production tones. It's about the wood. It's about the finish. All these parts do work together.
And the cool thing about it is we can still do this. It's not a lost art. It's something that anybody could do. And now we're bringing in the electronics that you don't have the hum that you had in the olden days. You don't have some of the inherent problems that you had with a semi-hollow body guitar feeding back. We're able to solve those problems and put in electronics that will allow us to still build that beautiful guitar, get that great tone, and not have the horrible issues that guys had to deal with back in the 60s and early 70s and all. And it's just working out really great. And plus, with all the technology, the electronic technology, being able to split pickups and phase shifting, all of that stuff, we're still able to do. So we're able to do that with a vintage feel and sound of the wood, and it's a perfect thing. It's the way it should be in my mind.
All right, so you've definitely got your thing. As far as being a customizable kind of shop, I mean, can people call you and say, yeah, I do want a poly finish, or I do want to go here, you don't really do this shape, but I'm interested in this? Is that your thing, or are you like, nope, this is my drill, and you know, find what you like within this series?
Well, coming from the custom world, I'm willing to do almost anything as long as it makes sense. And so if somebody does get a hold of me and say, I really want this, but I want a poly finish, I'll do it. But I'll do it, but we'll talk about it first. We'll have that heart-to-heart, that Delaney heart-to-heart session, and explain why we do what we do. And you know, many times, I've got an artist here today who originally, the guitar we built for him, he wanted a silver sparkle paint job. It would have been really cool looking, and he's a rocker. The guy's amazing. But after we talked, he said, you know, I want it raw. Let's do what you do. And he's thrilled to death with his guitar, you know, and it turned out great. It's a hot rod guitar, but it's very minimalist, and the guys are thrilled to death. So that's what we try to do. We really try to impose ourselves on everybody we can, because we really believe that this is the way it should be. But
well, much respect. That's your thing. You're teaching. You're making.
I'll still, if somebody calls me and says I need a guitar that looks like a starfish and has poly on it, I'll do it if it's doable. You know.
Well, I mean, you were saying this is your side project over here. You don't want to be known for this, but you can have fun. You can do some neat, different stuff. You know?
This is the Abel Axe. Abel Axe has been around for 15 years. Guys like Mark Slaughter from Slaughter and Gunnar Nelson plays an Abel Axe. You know, they've been around forever, and the Shredders loved them back in the 90s. They were hugely popular, and I was fortunate enough to get to know Jeff Abel, the originator of the Abel Axe. We were living in Montana at the time, and Jeff happened to live 20 miles down the road and called me up and said, "Will you help me resurrect the Abel Axe? I want to bring it back." And I said, "Absolutely." And I thought, what is this thing going to sound like? Because I'm a wood guy, you know. And he brought one over, and I played it. And that weekend, I played a gig in Montana, a blues gig, and I took the Abel Axe with me. And it was actually a fill-in gig. I was a pickup guitar player for this band. And second set, I picked up the Abel Axe and started playing it in the gig. And we broke into Red House, and the other guitar player threw me a solo. And that was the last solo I got all night, because it just tore the place up. It's a great guitar, but totally different than anything that I normally do. We're now offering composite necks on the Abel Axe. There's no wood in the guitar now. It's like, what am I doing here? But it's a lot of fun. It has its place, you know, and we're having a great time with it, and people still love them. You know, they're great guitars.
What do you want people to know as far as pricing, the weight, you know, that stuff?
My pricing, I think our price point is really reasonable. You know, as a custom builder, as a builder who does handmade stuff, our price point is very reasonable. Our guitars start MSRP on a typical double cutaway guitar is $1,875. You know, and I'm looking at being on a wall next to a Grosh or a Sur or an Anderson. I think the price is very reasonable, and I think we'll do just fine next to those guys. They're great guitars. It's neat to be looked at next to those guys, you know, and in that world. And so we're real happy with where we are. We can make a living doing it, and we can still offer something to the guitar players that's more than your off-the-shelf guitar, and make it so it's still affordable for these guys.
And turnaround time?
Right now, it varies. Hopefully after the show, it's going to be a long turnaround time. But we normally quote 45 to 60 days on a guitar, and it's very doable. You know, but like I said, the max we'll do is maybe 15 guitars a month. And that's not a lot of guitars, but it's a lot in my little shop. Well, and I think we offer just enough different type of guitar that it's going to appeal to the guys. And someone who might say, I love my Anderson, but I love the way that Delaney looks. You know, that's great. And the guys that we're seeing here at the NAMM show are those kind of guys. They're going, you know, we love our Collings, and we love this, but your guitars look very organic and really cool, and man, and they play just as well. We love the way they sound, and so that's our niche. We're not competitors. You know, I would love to own a Grosh. I would love to own a Sur. They're great guitars. I think Delaney's just right up there with them, and I own a lot of Delaney's.
Fantastic. All right, man, if people want to check out your stuff online, where should they go?
www.delaneyguitars.com. We're also on MySpace and Facebook, and even Twitter. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but we're on there. And check us out. If someone who wants to call and talk about guitars, it's going to be me usually that answers the phone too. I even take out the trash. I do it all. So more than happy to talk to everybody. We love doing it. It's part of what we do, is the interaction with the artists, and we've met some amazing people, and we're just really, it's a humbling experience to be able to build a guitar for Arlen Roth or for Gunnar Nelson, or, you know, different worlds and just great folks. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for
I really
showing us your
appreciate it,
stuff.
guys. Thanks so much.
All right. I'm Joe Coffey. You're watching PremierGuitar.com.